This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So as part of this ANA database objects development, we are discussing about what triggers. So before triggers, we were discussing about database views, how to create the view, all those things. So related to these views, we have something called as instead of triggers. Okay. So yesterday we have seen how to implement triggers for implementing referential integrity between what two tables. Okay, we understood those 2 points. It will not allow us to delete the parent record when there are corresponding child records, or it will not allow us to insert the child record when there is no corresponding parent record. So those two things, we call it as what referential integrity. We are able to implement them by using triggers without creating any foreign key relationship between the two tables. Now, in triggers only, we have one more important thing called as instead of triggers. So let us understand what is this instead of triggers. Right. So first, what I need to do is let us create the database views. Already we know how to create the database views. So let me just open the SQL console. I'll right click on the database instance. Yeah, I'll set the schema for our session. Set schema. What is the schema? Gensoft SQL. Right. Schema is set on behalf of this session. Right. So if you go to catalog subfolder in our schema Gensoft SQL, yeah, we have created what some triggers yesterday. Check child rows and check department number. So I'll do one thing. I don't require this. So let me try to delete them. I'll try to delete these two triggers because these two triggers are created on these tables. Okay, what are the tables we have created yesterday? Something T department and a T EMP. Okay, so since I want to create the views, I may have some effect because of these triggers. Let me delete those triggers. So I'll say drop trigger. Already we know how to drop the trigger. Drop trigger. What is the trigger name? Check child rows. F8. Yeah, it might have deleted. Then drop trigger. What is the other trigger name? Check department number. Yeah, the other trigger is also dropped. So if I refresh my triggers in our schema, so as of now, there are no triggers available. Okay, now let us try to create a database view. So we have these tables, sorry, what are the tables? T department and T EMP. If I open the definition of EMP, open definition, there are the three columns: EMP number, ename, and department number. Similarly, the definition of T department table is it has got two columns, DPT number and DName. And I think both the tables are having data at this stage. Select star from T department. Yes, we have around 4 records, fine. And similarly, select star from TEMP. Yes, this table also has got what? Some records. There are 2 employees in 10, 2 employees in 20, and 1 employee, or 3 employees in 20, 1 employee in 30, and 1 employee in 40. Fine, no problem. So let me try to create a view on top of this employee table, which has got 3 columns: EMP number, ename, and what? Department number. Yeah, I'll try to create the view. As of now, let us create the database view only on this particular table, TMP. What is the original column names? EMP number, ename, and what a D number. These are the original column names. So let me try to create a view. Create a view. I'll give the view name as what are the available views in our schema. Yeah, these are the views available. So let me give the view name as something VEMP, something just to understand that is a view. I'm starting with the view. We can give any name, create a view. And the original table column names are these things. I want to change those column names at the view level. At the view level. So let me give the names as something employee number, then employee name, and what is the other column? D number. So for this column also, let us provide a what? Yeah, DPT underscore number. So these are the column names at what view level, and I want to give access to the complete table data. So I'll say as a select, since I want all the columns, I'll say star, select star from what is the base table TMP. I'm not providing any where class. So access will be given to what? The complete table data. Done. So these are my column names at the view level. Let me try to create. F8. Yes, the view got created. So if I refresh the view section, okay, so the view is created. I'll do one thing. I don't require these views. Let me quickly delete that. Not compulsory, but just to increase. I'll select multiple views by holding the control key. I'll right click and delete. Do you want to delete the selected objects? Yes. So all the selected views got deleted. We have only one view, VM, which is the latest view which I created. So while creating the view, I'm providing different column names and I'm giving access to what? The complete data. Let me try to query the data from the view. I'll say select star from, I'll say VEMP. VEMP is what here? It's a view. So let me execute. Yes, we have what? 7 records. Okay, we have 7 records. Fine. So, okay. Yeah. So what are the view we created here? What are the view we created? If I create the view like this is called as updatable view. Okay, so this is success. What happens? It creates what? Updatable view. So when I say updatable view, what is the meaning of this? I can perform DML operations at what view level? Okay, I can perform DML operations at a view level. I can perform insert, delete, update operations as part of my view. By default, it is what? Updatable view. So what I'll do now is, so when I query the data from the view level, this is the data I got. So actually we already know a view is a virtual table. A view doesn't hold any data physically. Whatever the data we are able to see at the view level, that data will be populated only in what? Runtime. The data will be populated the view in the runtime. View doesn't hold any data physically. So what I'll do now, I'll try to I'll try to what perform some DML operation. So observe here, my view contains how many records? 7 records. My view contains 7 records, and my table also contains the same 7 records. No? So if I execute this, yes, we have our same 7 records. So whatever the data is there at the table level, the same data is available at the view level also. Fine. Now I'll try to insert a record into the view. I want to check, I want to understand whether that record is physically inserted into the base table. What is the base table for this particular view? TMP. So I'll try to insert, see this, insert into, insert into, what is the view name? VEMP. insert into VEMP values. Okay, values. Let me give the employee number as something 12. Okay, I'll give the employee name as something Pawan 12, and department number I'll give it as something 10. Okay, so this is the record I'm trying to insert at the view level. So whatever I mentioned here, this is the view. Okay, let me execute F8. Good. What happened? It is successfully what? Inserted. So what I'll do now, I'll check whether this record is inserted in my base table. What is the base table here? TMP. Na? So when I execute F8, yes, you can see here the record got inserted. What is the employee number? 12, and the employee name is something Pawan 12, and department number is what? 10. Okay, obviously if I query from the view level, it will show the same data, because whenever you try to query the data from a view, the data will be actually retrieved from what? The base table, underlying base table. So when I got what? The same 8 records. So what is the employee number? 12. So what is the understanding here? Whatever the view I created here, on top of what? The table TMP, by default it is updatable view. What do you mean by updatable view? Any DML operations that you try to perform at the view level will actually reflect what? The base table. Will actually reflect the base table. Okay. So now what I'll do is, I'll try to, okay, insert is anyhow working. Let us confirm with delete also. So my base table contains how many records? 8 records. 8 records. So in this, one of the record, if you see, employee number 5. Okay, I want to delete a record whose employee number is 5. Whose employee number is 5. Obviously, at the view level also, we have the same 8 records. So what is the record I want to delete? Employee number 5. Okay, let me try to delete. Overall, we have 8 records now. So I'll say delete from what is the view name? VEMP, where employee number, I'm sorry. Actually, if you see the table, one second, let me execute. This is the table. What is the column at the table level? EMP number. The column name at the table level is EMP number, but while creating the view, I gave a different name. Na? What is the different name here? Employee number. So if you see at the view level, the data is same, but the column name is employee number. So I cannot say delete from VEMP where employee number equal to what? 5. I cannot say like this, because there is no column with the name EMP number at the view level. So obviously this statement should give me what? Error. So when I execute F8, what happened? Good. I got an error, invalid column name EMP number. So this is giving me what? Error, as no column exists with the name what? EMP number at what? A view level. At a view level. So what is the adjustment I have to do? Whatever since I am doing the delete operation on the view, I must refer to the column name which is available at the view level, which is employee number. So I'll say delete from what? VEMP, where what is the column name here? Employee number. So I'll say where employee number equal to what? 5. So again, what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to delete the record from the view level. So F8, it might have deleted. So if I query the data from the base table, select star from what? What is the table? TEMP. Earlier we had 8 records. When I execute now, yes, we have what? 7 records. So the employee number 5 got deleted. Na? Done. Similarly, if I query the data from the view level, obviously you'll get the same 7 records. F8. So what happened? Here also employee number 5 got deleted. Now we have only 7 records. We have only 7 records. So what is the understanding? Deletes the record from what? Base table. What is the base table here for this particular view? TMP. Similarly, here also, when I insert at the view level, inserts a record in the what? Base table. Inserts a record in the base table. What is that record? VEMP. Inserts a record in the base table, VEMP. That's all. Hmm. Yes. Okay, so what is the point I want to convey here is whatever the view we create on one of the table, any of the table, whether it is a custom table or a standard table, by default it is updatable view. Updatable view means what? Any changes that you try, any DML operations that you try to perform at the view level will actually reflect what? The base table. So any of you have seen insert delete. Let us quickly check the update also. Let me try to query the data from a table level F8. Yeah, this is the current data. Okay, this is the current data. So what I'll do here, I'll try to, yeah, you can see employee number 6 is there. Try to understand employee number 6 is there. What is the current employee name? Ravi 6. I want to update this to Ravi 66 for the employee number what? 6. Ravi 66 I want to update. So how do you use update statement? Update. What is the view name? VEMP. Update VEMP set ename. Set ename equal to, I'll say Ravi 66. Again, this should give me error because at my view level, the column name is employee name. Employee name. At the table level, it is ename, but again, this also should give me error. Update VEMP set ename equal to Ravi 66, where EMP number is equal to what? 6. Huh? Okay, so it should give me error because there is no column with the name ename and EMP number at the view level. So when I execute F8, good, invalid column name, EMP name. So what is the error? As what? As no column exists. As no column exists with the name what? Ename, with the name ename at what? A view level. Similarly, I'll do a small change here. Update EMP. So instead of ename, I'll say this as what? Employee name. Employee name, but still I'm giving this as what? EMP number. Again, we don't have EMP number, we have employee number. So I should get this error now. So when I execute F8, again I got there invalid column name EMP number. Earlier it was giving the first error. What is that? Invalid column name ename. Now we are getting the error on behalf of the second column. So I'll just put this comment here. Error as no column exists with the name what? EMP number, with the name EMP number at what? View level. So what I'll do now, let us provide the original names. Original names at the view level, where what is that? Employee number equal to what? 6. So again, I'm trying to perform the DML operation at what? View level. So when I execute F8, yes, it might have updated. So what happens here? Updates the record at what? From what? Updates the record in what? Base table. What is the base table for this? TEMP. Na? So let me try to query the data. Select star from what? TEMP. F8. Yes, you can see here employee number 6. You can observe here. What is this here? Earlier Ravi 6 is there. Now it is Ravi 66. So obviously, if I query the data from the view level, I would get the same data. Select star from VEMP F8. Yes, I got Ravi 66. So it is confirmed that in an updatable view, what are the DML operations you perform, it will be actually reflecting what? The base table. So by default, whatever a view we create on a single table, whatever a view we create on a single table is what? Updatable view. Okay, so now what is the change I'll do is, one second, let me copy this thing in our Word file so that I can send the material. Right. Yeah, before I continue further, any queries up to this point?
Sridhar, I joined a little bit late. I mean, when you're talking about this updatable view, right? So the logical definition of the view and the table should be the same.
What do you mean logical definition?
I mean, the field names and data types of the fields,
No, no. Field names we
it
can
should be the
change.
same, or it will take.
That's what I did. Okay, if I don't give this parenthesis, this thing, by default, whatever the column
Mm.
names are there at the table level, the same column names will be given to what? A view also. If you want, the developer will have a provision to change the names. Already we know this. So wantedly, I'm changing the names. It's my wish,
Mm.
but it's not mandatory.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so I have changed the column names. Even if you don't change also, no problem. The point you have to focus here is, by default, a view created on top of single table is what? Updatable view. Is updatable by default. Is it clear, Kavita?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Right. Now, yeah, any other queries, others? Yeah. Now what I'll do is, so by default is updatable, you know. Let us see whether we can create a read-only view. When I say read-only view, it should not allow me to perform what? DML operations at what? View level. So what is the change I'll do is, okay, what is the earlier view name? VEMP, na? I'll try to give the view name as VEMP2. Again, it's my wish whether you want to change the column names or don't want to change. It's our wish. So here I'll say create a view. Let me give the view name as VMP2. Again, if I leave it like this, it is again becomes what? Updatable view. So what is the addition I'll do here? While creating this view, okay, I will use a addition called as with read only. With what? Read only. So if you take a normal ABAP also, I don't know. I mean, if you remember, in our normal ABAP, when you're creating the views in your dictionary, SC11, okay, when you are creating any of the view, database view, projection view, maintenance view, help view, in the maintenance status tab, you'll have the radio buttons, read only and read and change. So it is developer choice whether you want to create it as an updatable view, means you have to select read and change. If you select the radio button read only, it becomes read only. Here also we have the addition what? With read only. Let me try to execute. So what is the view name? VEMP2, and I'm trying to change the column names. I'll do one thing. In the earlier case, my base table contains what? Three columns. I'm providing I'm providing what different names for each of the column. Now what I'll do is, out of three columns, let me check whether I can change only two column names. So I'll give employee number, employee name. This I'll not give. So I just want to understand whether the system will have the intelligence to provide the same column name for the third column. Okay, so my base table contains three columns. TMP, if you see, what is the third column name? D number. Okay, so let's see. Since I'm not proposing any name, I'm proposing the names only for what? Two columns. So my understanding is, since I give only two columns, it will consider what? The first two columns here. That is my understanding. Let's see whether the system is also analyzing the same way or not. So when I execute, when I say F8, I got another argument type mismatch. Argument type mismatch. VMP2 has fewer columns than were specified in the column list. Okay, so I got an error. Argument type mismatch. VMP2 has fewer columns than versus good. So it is not having that intelligence here. It is giving what? Error. So but I want to propose names only for two columns. So what I'll do now, create a view name. Here instead of doing like this, okay, I'll say select what? What is the column? EMP number as what? Employee number. Okay, comma. What is the other one? E name as employee name, comma. I'll say what? D number, because I want the third column also. I'll just give D number, but I'll not propose any alias name. Let's see whether this syntax is supported. Create a view, so and so, done. Yeah, execute. F8. Good. It is allowing me. It is allowing me. So if I refresh, right click and refresh. Okay, so what is the view created? VMP2. If I open the definition of this view, open definition. Yeah, you can see employee number, employee name. For the third column, since I'm not providing any alias name, it is taking the same name. Good, D number. Hope this is clear. So if you are giving immediately in the parenthesis, it is expecting the alias name for all the columns of your table. Okay, or else if you want only two columns, here you have to say emp number comma ename. But I want the third column at the view level also. Okay, so that's the reason I need to go for this syntax. Done. Okay, so we are able to create the view, but this is what kind of view? Read only view. So what is the meaning? I cannot perform DML operations at the view level. So before I do that, if you execute the select query on our base table, F8, good. There are some 7 records here. This is in the base table. Let me try to query the data at the view level. Select star from what? VEMP. When I execute, yes, we have what? The same 7 records. Done. So what I'll do, I'll try to, 7 records are there. I'll try to insert a record now. It should not allow me because I marked the view as read only view. So insert into, if I insert in the table, it will allow. A table will not have any restriction. I can perform any operations. I'll say insert into, I'm sorry, here it is not VEMP, VMP2. So when I execute, I'll get obviously the same 7 records I got. Done. So let me try to insert the record at the view level. Insert into VMP2 values. I'll give the employee number something 14. I'll say something employee name, and I'll give some department number 30. So it should not allow me because I marked the view as what? I created the view as what? Read only view. So when I execute F8, good. What is the error I got? Try to understand the error message. That is most important. Data manipulation operation not legal on this view. Data manipulation operation not legal on this view. So error as what? View is what? Read only. Okay, similarly, I'll try to delete. It should not allow me. So if I query the data, okay, I want to delete a record whose employee number is 4. Whose employee number is 4. Okay, so there are 7 records. I want to delete the record with employee number 4. So I'll say delete from what? VEMP2 delete from VMP2 where employee number equal to 4. So when I execute F8, again, I'm sorry, at the view level, what is the column name? Employee number, na? Employee number. So where employee number equal to 4. Done F8. Yes, I got the same error. Data manipulation operation not legal on this. So obviously update also should not work. So if I again query the data from the view level F8, okay, I want to update the same employee number 4. What is the employee name? Ravi 4. I want to update it to Ravi 44. So how do we use update? Update the view. What is the view name? VEMP2. Set set employee name, because at the view level I change it. Employee name equal to Ravi 44, where employee number equal to 4. It should not allow me. I should get the same message, same error message. Yeah, I got the same error. Data manipulation operation not legal on this particular view. So good. Okay, so if you query the data from the table or at the view level, the data is intact. There is no change. Okay, all the 7 records are there. 4 is there. Employee name 4 is what? Still Ravi 4 only. Okay, no changes. So this is your read only view. So what I am trying to summarize here is, if you are creating the view on top of a single table, by default it is updatable view, means all the DML operations are supported on what? View level. If you want to restrict the DML operations, you have to create the view as what? Read only, and that is done by using the addition what? With read only. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll try to create a view on top of multiple tables. So already we know we can create the view on top of more than one table. Okay, so I'll try to create the view more than on one table. I will not use any addition called as with read only, but a view created on top of 2 or more tables, a view created on top of 2 or more tables is always Non-updatable is always non-updatable. There is a default behavior, not only here, anywhere. Even if you take a normal ABAP, if you go to ABAP dictionary also, if you try to create the database view on top of two tables, that read and change radio button will be grayed out. It is always read only. It is always read only. So here also, I'll try to create the view on top of those two tables. Let's see that. Before I do any queries,
So Sridhar, like with respect to joins, also we can create a view on multiple tables, right? Then also it is the same condition.
no, can you repeat your question?
No, creating views on multiple tables we can create with respect to joins also, right? Using inner join,
Obvious.
left outer join, all
Yes,
those.
yes, we can. Already
Okay.
we have seen.
So then
We
also,
can.
like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah. That's what. If you are creating a view on top of two tables, obviously, if you are trying to create a view on top of two tables, I must use joins only. Whether it is inner join, left, or doesn't matter. But the point you have to focus here is a view created on top of two or more tables is always read only. Is always read only. I don't have provision to make it as a updatable view. Whereas on single table, a view created on single table, by default it is updatable. If you want, you can make it as read only. But a view created on two or more tables is always read only. Okay, anyway, we'll see that practically now. Yeah, apart from that, any other queries? Others?
Yes, Sridhar, I have a question.
Yeah,
Uh,
Shankar.
yeah, so in the real time, like say as a developer, like say how often a developer will be like say allowed to create, like say we seen yesterday the triggers and now the views and the table creation, right? So all these things, like say how often a developer will be like say allowed to create all these triggers or views or
Yes, as per my knowledge and experience, generally on the custom tables in every project definitely will create what a custom tables. Okay, so
mm,
almost in every custom table we require some follow-up actions, almost most of the times. Okay, so we'll define the trigger, so there is no restriction that will not create frequently, but as per my knowledge and experience we will create, just like we implement table level events in a normal ABAP also, no? Same similar to that, here we have triggers. So my answer is yes, we'll create it very frequent. Almost in every project, we'll have a requirement of doing the follow-up actions, because the user is trying to do some action. Based on his action, some other business logic should be executed automatically. That business logic will incorporate as part of our trigger definition. So we will use it very frequently.
so that
Yeah,
call will be like say taken by like say this
the team.
yeah.
Obviously, the functional consultant will have the requirements, will collect the requirements from the customer team. So it is a functional consultant who gives these requirements to the development team. So based on that requirement, we will implement. So my answer is yes, very frequently we'll do it. Okay. Yeah. So where we are now? Hmm. Yeah. What is the next agenda here? Let us try to create a view on top of what? Two tables. What happened? Yeah. Okay, right. So see here, anyhow, we have these two tables. What are the two tables? Yeah, TEMP and a T department. So I'll try to create a view on top of these two tables. Let's see whether it is updatable or not. Okay, so what shall I do? Mhm. Yeah, I'll do one thing. Yeah. In the employee table, we have three columns: EMP number, ENAME, D number. And in the department table, we have two columns: department number and DNAME. So what I want is, from the employee table, I want these three columns: EMP number, ENAME, D number. From the department table, I want only DNAME. Okay, so out of overall 5 columns, let us create the view with what? 4 columns. So I'll say create view. I'll give the view name as VEMP3. anything. Okay, VEMP3, or let me give it as VEMP department. Yeah, VEMP department, done. So what is that? As select, I can't say star because I can say star provided if you want to give access to all the columns, but I want only one column from the department table. So I cannot say star. That's the reason I have to manually specify this column names: EMP number, ename, and department number. So select what? EMP number, comma, ename. If you want to give alias, same story, already we know as the so and so. Okay. So ename, comma, D number, done, comma. What is the other column from the other table? Dname, dname. So I'm not giving access to DPT number column from the department table. Okay. So D number, done. Create a view so and so. Create a view so and so, as select so and so, done. From which table? From TEMP. Okay. I'll take inner join. What is the other table? T department, done. And obviously we have to compare the logically related field. What is the TMP dot, what is that column name here? D number equal to T department dot DPT number. That's all. Yeah, DPT number, and here it is obviously D number. So this is my view which I'm trying to create on top of two tables, irrespective of any join, inner join, left outer join, right outer join. Okay, don't focus on the join type here. It can be any join. So I'm trying to create the view. Done. F8. Select the block and say F8. Yes, the view got created. Okay, so if I refresh, what is the view name? VEMP department. So what I told earlier, a view created on top of two or more tables is always read only, but a view created on single table, by default it is updatable. If you want to make it as read only, we have to use addition with read only. But what is the point I'm trying to convey now? A view created on top of two or more tables is always read only. Okay, we don't have the provision to make it as updatable. So let me confirm. So at my view level, we have overall how many columns? 4 columns. So let me try to insert. So I'll say insert into, what is the view name? VEMP department values. It is expecting data for 4 columns. So I'll give employee number 16. What else? Employee name. I'll say something. Okay. And department number, I'll say something 20. And department name, I'll say something, what? SAP. Sorry. SAP. Done. Okay, so these are the 4 possible values: 16, Kranti, 20, and SAP. So I'm expecting an error. Okay, so before I do this, let me try to query the data from the view level. Select star from VEMP department. Done. F8. Yeah, this is the data which I got from 2 different tables. Overall, how many records are there? 7 records. I don't have any employee number 16. Remember, I don't have any employee number 16. Overall, 7 records are there. I'll try to do the insert operation. So when I say F8, good. Data manipulation operation not legal on this particular view. Okay, so what is the point here? Error as DML operations not possible on what? DML operations not possible on non-updatable view. This is called as non-updatable view. View on top of what? 2 or more tables. It is called as what? Non-updatable view on top of 2 or more tables. Done. So I'm unable to what? Insert. Is it clear? So not only insert, I cannot delete also. Okay, if I say delete, let me check that also. So if I query the data from the view level, F8, yeah, this is the data. I'll try to delete the employee number 12. Employee number 12 from which table? From which one? From the view level. We have 7 records as of now. So I'll say delete from, what is the table? VEM, what is the view? VEMP department, where what? Employee number equal to 12. Employee number equal to 12. So this is the employee number I'm trying to delete from the view level. Let's see. F8. I got the same error. Data manipulation not possible on what? Non-updatable view. Non-updatable means it's obviously read-only view. Done. Right? So now to achieve the DML operations or to allow the DML operations on this non-updatable views, we'll go for what? Instead of triggers. Am I clear? We'll go for instead of triggers. So let us try to create instead of trigger now. Okay, so what is the point you have to understand? A view created on top of two or more tables is always read only, means it is non-updatable view. We cannot perform DML operations on top of that particular view. So now let me try to achieve this by using what? Instead of triggers. So see the logic here. Yeah, any queries before I proceed further? Right. So let me try to create the instead of trigger. So already yesterday and day before yesterday, we have seen a couple of examples on the syntax little trigger. So what is the syntax? Create a trigger. One second, please. Let me copy this. Yeah. What is this? Create a trigger. Okay. Trigger name. What I'll do? DML underscore VEMP department. Okay. Something. Okay. I'm giving the trigger name as DML underscore VEMP department. Some name. Then yesterday, if you remembered, or day before yesterday, we are saying after insert, before delete, something like that. Okay. Now there is a slight change in the syntax. Create trigger name. I have to use the addition what? Instead of what operation you want to allow? Insert. Instead of insert on V underscore, what is the view name? Sorry, what is the view name? VEMP department. Na? Instead of insert on VEMP department, okay, referencing, same syntax what you have done yesterday, referencing. What is the spelling? Yeah, referencing. Insert means obviously new record. Na? So referencing new row. Okay, we have to give some transition variable name, some identifier. Let me give the identifier as my new row. You can give any name, my new row. And here I'll say for each row, create trigger name, trigger name instead of insert on so and so, referencing new row so and so for each row. Done. Begin. What is the agenda here? So when I'm trying to perform insert on this one, it is not allowing. So what is my expectation? Whenever I try to insert the data in a non-updatable view, what should happen? The corresponding data should get inserted into the base tables. Na? How many base tables are there for this particular view? Two base tables. One is TEMP and T department. So what is the agenda? What is the agenda we are trying to create? Why we are creating the trigger? Whenever I try to insert the data into my view level, the insertion should happen in the corresponding base tables. Okay. So keeping that in mind, I'll say begin. Yeah. Insert into what is my first base table? TMP. TMP values. Yesterday we have seen how do you refer to the new record which you're trying to insert based on this transition variable, or we call it as identifier. What is that? My neurona. So instead of so and so, it's a colon. What is this? My neuro dot. My neuro dot. My neuro dot. Did I change the column names at the view level? No, no. Okay, anyhow, we are inserting in the table level. No, sorry. So my neuro dot emp number, comma. What else? My neuro dot. What is the other column in the table level? Emp number, ename, and department number. Okay, ename, comma, column my new row. Anyhow, we have not changed that column names at what? View level. My new row dot. What is the third column? Department number. Done. That's all. Okay, so I'm trying to insert the data into what? TMP, the corresponding data. How do you refer to the new record we are trying to insert? By prefixing the column with the transition variable my new row, my_new_row.emp number, my_new_row. Yesterday we have seen if you are not using this column, we are getting the error. So it's a part of syntax. Done. Then I want the insertion in the other table also. Now insert into what is the other table? T department, right? Insert into T department values. The T department is expecting data for two columns, DPT number, okay, DPT number and what? D name. So what I'll do here, yeah, colon, again colon, my_new_row dot, my_new_row dot, what are the column names? D number, DPT number, DPT number. But I think I cannot say DPT number here because we are trying to do insert. Observe this carefully. We are trying to do insert on the view level. Na? So at the view level, what are the column names? EMP number, ename and D number, remember. So here I need to refer to the columns at the view level. My new row dot D number. Okay. Then obviously we have another column what? D name. Right. So I'll say my new row dot D name. That's all. Done. End. Let me cross check. Create trigger name instead of insert on the view level, referencing neuro so and so for each record. Done. Insert into TMP values. My employee table is expecting data for 3 columns. That is the reason I need to supply the data for 3 columns. Okay, so the column names are same at the view level also. Done. And department table is expecting data for 2 columns, DPT number and D name. So at the view level, DPT number is referred by using which name? D number. That's the reason I have to give D number here. D number, comma, my new row, D name. That's all. Yes, let me execute. I'll say F8. Good. Okay, the view got created. Sorry, the trigger got created. So if I refresh my triggers section, yes, the trigger is created. DML underscore VEMP department. Done. Now what I have to do? I should try to perform the DML operations, not DML operation, insert only. I should try to perform insert operation on top of this particular view level. It should insert that record into the corresponding table. So before I do that, see the data in my tables, select star from, so this is what success, select star from what is the table? TMP. So if you see the one of the base table data, we have 7 records. We have 7 records. Remember, I don't have any employee number with 16. So I'll try to insert 16 employee number, and our overall how many records are the 7 records. Similarly, if you take the department table, select star from T department, I think it has got some 4 records. It has got some 4 records, 10, 20, 30, 40, 10, 20, 30, 40. So what I'll do now, I'll say insert into so and so 16. I'll give the department number 50 and I'll say SAP. That's all. 16 Kranti. My view is expecting data for 4 columns. So I'm trying to insert at what view level. Earlier I got the error. Let's see now. Since the trigger is available on top of the view, trigger will be fired on top of what? What view? So let me try to execute this F8. Good. It did not give me error. Same thing earlier I got the error. Okay. Now I didn't got the error. Let me go and check the base tables. Select star from TMP. Earlier we had 7 records. When I execute, yes, we have 8 records. What is that? 16 something Kranti and what 50 is the department. 8 records I got. Similarly, if I try to query the data from the other base table, F8. Then I got what? 5 records, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Done. Okay, so insert is working fine. So what is the point here? Success. Insert the data into the corresponding what? Corresponding base tables. What are the base tables? T, MP, and what? T department. Okay, now I'll try to delete. I'll try to delete. So when I execute F8, this employee table has got 8 records. I'll try to delete the employee number 4. I'll try to delete the employee number 4. EMP number is what? 4. 8 records are there, remember. So here I'll say delete from, what is that view? VEMP department where employee number equal to 4. So I'm trying to delete from the view level. When I say F8, when I execute, good, I got the error because here it is only for insert. What are the instead of trigger I created? This is only for what? Insert. So it will not allow. Okay, understood. Similarly, I'll try to what? Update. Update also it should not allow. When I execute, 4 is there, Ravi 4 is there. I'll try to update it to Ravi 44. Ravi 44. So I'll say what? Error as delete operation not enabled. Not enabled on what? Non-updatable view. Okay, so here I'll try to update. I'll say update. What is the view name? VEMP department. Set update VEMP department. Set what? Ename equal to. I'll say something Raj 44, where employee number equal to 4. I'm trying to do update operation on my view level. Here also I should get the same error. When I say fit, yes, I got the same error. Data manipulation operation not possible. Only insert we have enabled. Okay, if you want the delete, you create one more trigger as update operation. Am I clear? If you want the delete and update also, the logic could be different. Na? So instead of saying instead of insert, say what? Instead of what? Delete. Instead of delete. Am I clear? And what is that? Referencing old row you have to say, not new row, because it is delete operation. Na? And for update also, it should be what? Old row. Delete and update is available only for what? Existing records. Okay, so this is the concept of instead of triggers. Even if you check the documentation, if I go to help contents, let me check for instead of. Okay, create trigger statement, or let me go to create trigger statement. So somewhere if you see the documentation, yeah, you can see instead of triggers. Observe this. What is saying here? Instead of specifies that the trigger is executed instead of what? DML operation on a view. Specifies, yeah, specify that the trigger is executed instead of DML operation on a view. Am I clear? So by default, I cannot perform the insert, delete operations, delete, update operations on a what? Non-updatable view. If you want to enable them, you have to create what? Instead of trigger. So if you want to allow all the DML operations, obviously you have to create 3 instead of triggers. I have done for instead of insert. You try for what? Instead of delete and instead of what? Update. For delete and update, here it should be what? Referencing old row and write the corresponding business logic. Right? So this is about the instead of triggers. Any queries?
So Sridhar, instead of is only specific to views, right? We generally these triggers yesterday
Yeah.
we have used on tables. So this
Hmm.
particular instead of is only specific to views, right?
Only for non-updatable views.
Okay, okay.
Okay, yeah, that's what the documentation is saying clearly. Na? So if I go to help contents once again, here it is create a trigger. Create trigger. If I see the documentation here, what is saying here instead of, yeah, specifies that the trigger is executed instead of what? DML operation on a view. On a view. If you see that before and after, they're clearly saying operation on a table here. So instead of is dedicated only for what? View.
I have a doubt, Sridhar.
Yeah,
Suppose like if I have created my view specific to only one table, so it will become an updatable view, right?
by default.
So Yeah, by default. Unknowingly, if I create a trigger using
No,
instead of, then what will happen? Like,
no, you can create it. Nothing will happen. It will, the trigger also will fire.
okay, okay.
Okay, it will not give any error. By default, actually, it doesn't make sense in the sense, by default, a view created on a single table is by default updatable. Okay, it doesn't make sense again in creating what instead of trigger. It will allow us to create as per mana. It will allow us to create. It will not give any error, but doesn't make sense because the default behavior itself
Yeah,
is what updatable.
yeah, yeah.
Unnecessarily, the load is increased on the database because it has to fire the trigger for every DML operation that you are trying to do. Okay. Yeah. Any other queries, others? So do one thing, Kavita. To be on safer side, you try to implement the trigger and let me know the answer tomorrow. Okay. You create a table. You
Sure, sure.
create
Yeah,
a
I'll do
view.
that.
You create a view on single table. By default, it is updatable. Again, you try to create instead of. Let's see whether it is allowing or whether it is giving any warnings kind of thing. Let me know tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, 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 sure.
Fine then. So I'll wind off. We'll continue tomorrow. So this triggers, as of now, we are using what independently. Independently, we are trying to create the trigger like this. Okay. So based on this trigger kind of syntax only, we have something called as procedures and functions. And wherever required, again, in yesterday's example, I've used exceptions inside the trigger. Okay, that exception also will come again when we go to our procedure sequences, sorry, not sequences, functions. So tomorrow onwards, most probably, we'll start with what, so we are done with database use, triggers, enable, disable, I told you, yeah, enable, disable, dropping trigger, we have discussed, tables, sequences. Okay, so tomorrow, I'll check whether to start with procedures or with indexes. Okay, we have the indexes concept in our ABAP dictionary also. We have primary index and secondary index, but here the concept is slightly different. Okay, different in the sense we have something called as binary tree index, compressed binary tree index, like that. We have different types of indexes. We'll try to discuss that, or else we'll start with procedures. Okay, so if I start procedures, this procedures and functions itself will go for 1 week. Procedures is the most important thing. Okay, actually what you have to do is inside this procedure only we'll be using all these things: views, triggers, tables, synonym, everything we have to use it inside what procedure. So far we have discussed them independently. So when we start procedures and function, we'll use all these objects together inside the procedure definition, and we'll try to call that procedure from our ABAP report. So we'll see how to call it directly, not directly. We cannot call it directly. We have to create something called as proxies and other things. We'll see that going forward. So tomorrow I may start either with procedures or with indexes. I'll decide it tomorrow only. Done. So I'll wind up then. We'll meet tomorrow.